God.
There's an extinction happening in the real estate industry right now. It's not coming, it's already here. Agents are leaving the business. Commissions are being questioned, and AI is doing work that used to take agents hours. Buyers can find properties without us, sellers can look their home estimated value in seconds, and consumers are asking questions that every agent needs to be prepared to answer. What exactly am I paying you for?
That's exactly true. And if your only answer is, I'll put your home on the MLS or I'll open the door for you, you're in trouble because the agents who only provide information are becoming replaceable. But the agents who provide judgment, leadership, negotiation, strategy, and certainty, they may become more valuable than ever.
Yeah, and today we're going to be talking about who will still be selling homes in 2027. What kind of agents will disappear? What kind of agents will dominate? And what you need to change right now so you don't become part of the extinction event.
So true. I mean, this isn't really meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up because there's still a massive opportunity in this industry, but that won't belong to the average agent.
Yeah. Well, guys, welcome to the playbook of agent success. Let's get straight into it. So, Sharif, let's start with the obvious question. Are real estate agents actually becoming extinct?
No, real estate agents are not becoming extinct. Unskilled agents are. Agents who are unwilling to adapt are. Agents who treat real estate like a hobby but expect professional results are. And for a long time, the market predicted a lot of weak business models, right? So when rates were extremely low, homes were selling almost immediately. Agents could confuse a strong market with their own personal skills.
Yeah. And that's an important distinction here. Do you sell the house, or was the house always going to sell? Do you create the buyer, or did the low interest rate create the buyer? Did your marketing produce the result, or did limited inventory produce the result? When the market is easy, everyone looks talented. And I know like a lot of agents, just get wild up and put just listed, just sold this much above asking. But reality is, it was an easy market, right? A difficult market reveals who actually developed skills.
That's exactly it, Pete. The market is now exposing the difference between someone who has a license and someone who knows how to run a real estate business. And those are not the same thing. Having a real estate license gives you permission to conduct real estate, but it doesn't give you leads. It doesn't give you confidence. It doesn't teach you how to convert and does not make you valuable.
It definitely does not guarantee you an income. I think too many agents entered this business with the wrong expectation. They believed, I'll get my license, I'll post on Instagram, my brokerage or team will give me leads, I will show a few houses, I'll make 6 figures, then reality shows up. The lead don't answer, seller asks you to cut your commission, the buyer talks to 4 other agents, inspections become difficult, appraisal comes in low, transaction starts falling apart. Now the client is looking at you for an answer. That is where your value is tested.
Yep. And that right there is the extinction event. It isn't one rule change or one piece of technology. It is the market removing agents who never built the ability to create and protect value.
Yeah. So let's identify the agents most at risk right now. Number 1, what I call the information agent. This agent believes their value is access to information. They send listings, they tell the seller what the neighborhood sold for, they open a lockbox, they forward an email from an attorney, lender, inspector, or a title company. But information is everywhere now.
So true. I mean, consumers don't need us to tell them, that a house exists anymore, right? Their phone already told them that. They receive alerts instantly these days. And then they see photos, taxes, price history, school information, estimated payments, and nearby sales. If your value is simply providing information, technology will continue reducing your value.
The winning agent does something different. They interpret their information. They say, here's what this sale means for your property. Here's why this home has been sitting. Here's the risk hidden inside this offer. Here's how this inspection issue may affect resale value. Here's the negotiation strategy I recommend and why. Information tells people what happened. Expertise helps them decide what to do next.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, another type of, endangered agent right now is the lead dependent agent, right? The second endangered agent is that person because this person knows not to know. They don't know how to create a client, right? That's just their issue right now. They know how to receive a name and phone number. right? If Zillow, their team, or their brokerage, or any other platform stops providing leads, their entire business shuts down.
Yeah, we invest heavily in leads for our agents, but leads are opportunity, not an entitlement. A lead is not a client. A lead is not an appointment, and a lead is definitely isn't a closing. If you need perfect leads before you take action, you don't have a lead problem. You have a skill problem.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a strong agent can build businesses through multiple channels, right? They can build it through their sphere. They can build it through their past clients, open houses, which I think is probably one of the best ones, or even circle prospecting, expired listings, online leads, community events, social media, YouTube, or even agent referrals. They don't need to do all of them at once, though, but they need to know how to create a conversation without waiting for someone to hand them.
Yeah. And this is one of the biggest questions every agent should ask. If my lead source disappeared tomorrow, could I still create an appointment? If the answer is no, that is the first problem you need to solve. And the third endangered agent is the agent whose only competitive advantage is being cheaper.
Man, I hate that. I swear I hate that so much. And there's always someone willing to charge less. That's the issue, right? If your entire presentation's built around price, you have entered a race to the bottom, right? You can't win a price war because somebody will eventually work for almost nothing.
Yeah, the problem is the agents often discuss compensation before establishing value. The seller asks, "What do you charge?" The agent becomes nervous. They explain, they justify, then they start negotiating against themselves. But the client doesn't yet understand the strategy, work, risk, negotiation, or protection involved.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really defend a number before the consumer understands what that number buys. That doesn't mean that every client will pay the same amount. Compensation is definitely negotiable. It means that, the agents must be able to explain their services and options clearly, confidently, and honestly.
The agent who knows how to protect the seller's equity is valuable. The agent who can improve the terms of an offer is valuable. The agent who can prevent a transaction from collapsing is valuable. And the agent that can create competition, control the process, and negotiate through inspection, appraisal issues is valuable. But you need evidence, right? You can't just say, "Oh, I provide great service." Everybody says that. Show them the plane. Show them your process. Show your results. Show your communication standards. Show how you solve problems.
Yeah, it's so true. All right. So that's the third type of agent. When we go into the fourth type of agent, that's going to be the endangered agent. And that is the invisible agent, right? You can't be a secret agent. Nobody knows what they do. Nobody knows what market they serve. Nobody sees them talking about real estate at all. Then they are shocked when their friend hires another agent.
Get it, man. And then they say, "My friend knew I was in real estate," and they start complaining and they take it personal. I've been there myself when I first started, right? And it was totally my fault. So I know you probably have too, Sharif, and we learn from that. And that's what we preach to our agents. You can't be a secret agent. And I know you talk about this a lot, and so do I. Knowing you have a license is not the same believing you are the best person for the job. You need to become associated with a problem you solve. When somebody thinks about selling in your market, does your name come to mind at all? When a first-time home buyer has a question, do they think of you? When someone inherits a property, relocates, gets divorced, or needs to sell and buy at the same time, are you visible?
Yeah, I mean, visibility is not vanity, right? Visibility creates familiarity, right? So familiarity creates trust, and then trust creates conversions. So you got to get out there. But visibility doesn't mean just posting just listed every day. Consumers need useful content. Explain confusing parts of the process. Break down local market changes. Answer the questions that clients are afraid to ask. Show your personality, show your standards, and show your work.
And stop trying to look like every other agent. Authenticity is not sharing every detail of your life. It's allowing people to see how you think, what you value, and how you operate. Right? It's the fifth, and let's get into the fifth endangered agent, and maybe the most common, the undisciplined agent.
Oh my God, this is so common.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it all the time. Now, this agent is always getting ready, right? They're organizing their CRM. They're designing a logo. They're changing their bio. They're watching another training or they're looking for a better script, but they never are having the conversations.
Yeah, I know those agents. They mistake preparation for production, and they say, "Oh, I love training." I love training agents too, but we train constantly. But training without activity becomes another form of avoidance. You can spend 3 hours creating the perfect follow-up campaign, or you can pick up the phone and just follow up. You can redesign your business card. You can invite 10 people to your next open house, and which is the better option. You can watch a video of handling objections, or you can practice the objection until your response becomes very natural.
I mean, it's so true. I mean, the next generation of successful agents will not necessarily be the most charismatic, right? They will be the ones that are the most consistent. They follow the schedule when they feel good. They follow it when they feel tired. They follow the schedule when nobody's watching. They follow it when the last 20 people did not answer. You just got to keep following that schedule and be committed and consistent. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And your schedule has to become stronger than your mood or your feeling. And we talk a lot about that because the market doesn't pay you based on your intentions or your feelings. It pays you based on the value you create and the problems you solve.
And that's right there is it, right? People don't focus on that, but it's more than you, right? You got to get out of your emotions. You got to just get through it. And that's the whole thing. Just be consistent with it, people. It's really not that complicated. It's not the smartest agent that wins. It's the most consistent agent that wins. But we'll talk about another issue that's coming up and it's taken this industry by storm, right? And people are asking, will AI replace a real estate agent? Well, we have to talk about AI because this is part of what creates the most anxiety. Peter, do you think AI will replace agents?
I don't think AI will ever replace great agents. And the key factor I want to highlight, great agents. I think agents using AI effectively will replace agents who will refuse to use it. But of course, there's another side to this. Agents who use AI without judgment can also damage their business.
Right? It's so true. AI can write an email, right? But it cannot take personal responsibility for the advice inside that email. AI can produce a great listing description, but it cannot walk through the property and fully understand how buyers will respond to its condition, its smell, its layout, the street or surroundings. AI can summarize market data, but it cannot sit across from an emotional seller and lead a difficult pricing conversation.
Totally agree. AI is really good at speed, organization, patterns, drafts, and repetition. Humans are still needed for judgment, empathy, which is huge in the market that we're in and with clients that we're working with all the time, accountability, local knowledge, trust, and high stakes decision. So stop asking, can AI do this task? Instead, ask, how can AI help me do this task faster while I remain responsible for the results?
No, it's so true. I mean, Peter, why don't you give him some examples of that?
Yeah, sure. So here are a few. After a difficult prospect call, remove the private information and ask AI to analyze your questions. Ask it where you lost control of the conversation. Use it to role play with a seller who believes their home is worth $100,000 more than the market suggests. Use it to turn on long podcasts like we do here into short videos, emails, captions, and follow-up content. You can use it to organize your notes before a listing consultation. You could use it to create multiple drafts of explanation, but verify every fact before using it.
For sure.
Yeah, you could use it patterns and follow up or to build checklists. There's so many other things that we can get into.
And it's so true. I mean, you can use AI for almost anything to enhance, right? But it's not going to replace you. And the goal is not to let technology make you sound like a robot anyway. The goal is to let technology handle a lot of the repetitive stuff so you can spend more time being human.
Yeah. Exactly. And if AI saves you 5 hours and you spend those 5 hours watching videos, it did not improve your business. You use the saved time for conversations, appointments, client care, negotiation, practice, and relationship building. AI should increase your human output, not replace it.
True.
So we've talked about who's at risk. Let's talk about who wins. I believe the successful agents of 2027 will have 5 characteristics. Number 1, they do not sit around waiting for the market to improve. They create conversations, They develop multiple ways to generate business. They understand that prospecting is not punishment. Prospecting is how they gain control over their future.
Yeah, for sure. And most of all, they track it. How many calls, how many conversations, how many appointments, and how many appointments were actually held. That's really key, right? Or even how many agreements they wrote or how many closings. You can't improve a business you refuse to measure. Seriously, people, like you have to measure and understand where you're at in order to know how you're going to improve. And, the whole thing is the winning agent will not be the one who talks the most. It'll be the one that understands the clients best, right? They ask, why is it important now? What happens if you don't make the move? What concerns you the most about this process? Or what would what would the right outcome look like for you? What have other agents failed to explain to you? All these questions are key. That's what's going to, distinct from a standard agent and a great agent. It's going to be by how you conversate and the questions that you're actually asking.
I agree. Clients don't want to memorize speech. They want to feel understood. Scripts are very valuable, but the purpose of a script is not to recite words. It's to help you remain calm enough to listen and just make sure that you always seek first to understand, to understand before you're understood. A winning agent can explain what they do, why it matters, what risks they help manage, how their process works, how the client will be kept informed, and what client should expect next.
Yeah, definitely. And then when the client questions their value, they don't become offended. They become curious. What part of the service is most important to you? There's a key question right there. Or what would you need to see to feel comfortable moving forward? Or what concerns do you have about the compensation? And that creates a conversation instead of just a confrontation. And that's it. You always got to be on your client's side. And if you just take what they're saying and kind of form it into a question and then ask it back to them, you'll learn exactly what they're thinking about. So to get back to it though, the successful agent is not trying to become famous everywhere, right? They're just trying to become known by the right people. And that's key. You don't have to have everyone know who you are. You just need the key people to understand what you do.
So true. I mean, I personally would rather have 1,000 local people who trust me than 100,000 random followers who will never conduct business with me. So create content about your local market, interview local business owners, explain the local taxes, break down actual transactions, talk about specific neighborhoods, answer local seller and buyer questions, show that you're not merely in real estate, you understand real estate in that specific community.
That's true. Get hyper local with it.
Yeah. And the fifth type of agent who's going to be winning, this may be the most important one. Top agents operate with standards, not goals alone. A goal says, hey, I want to close 5 transactions this month. A standard says, I will complete my prospecting block every weekday. And another example is a goal, I want more appointments. A standard says I will follow up with every active opportunity and leave every conversation with a clear next step.
Yeah. I mean, a goal describes the desired results, point blank, right? A standard that describes the person and the behavior required to produce it. So it's great to have goals, but standards are going to get you there. And when the market gets difficult, goals can feel very, very far away. But a standard, that'll tell you what to do every day, day in and day out. I mean, a great standard to have is how many conversations are you having over 2 minutes every day? Because that will create the appointments needed, which will turn into the contracts and then obviously the closings. So the goal is to close, but the standard is the conversation that's going to take you there. Make sense?
Totally. So we're going to give everyone listening a survival test. Answer each question honestly. Do not give yourself credit for what you intend to do and score yourself based on what you consistently do. Give yourself 1 point for every yes. So let's go, Sharif.
All right, let's see. Question number 1. Can you generate an appointment without purchasing a lead?
Question 2, I think this is also really good. Can you clearly explain your value without relying on the words great service or full service?
Good one. Here's another one. How about this? Do you have a written follow-up process for new leads, warm prospects, past clients, and your sphere? A written follow-up process, though.
Yeah, so good. And a fourth one, can you confidently conduct a buyer consultation and explain the agreement and compensation options?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people that can't even do that. How about this one? Question 5. Can you lead a seller through an uncomfortable pricing or price reduction conversation?
Yeah, so many people shy away from that. You don't even want to call
Seriously.
them.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to do it.
Yeah. Here's another one. Are you consistently visible to your target market through calls, events, emails, video, social media, or community involvement?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good one too. How about this one? Are you using AI or automation to improve speed without sacrificing accuracy or your personal voice?
Great. I love that. A lot of people just depend on AI and just not even change this any word at all. It's
I
crazy.
know. Don't leave those dashes, people. We know it's AI.
Oh, yeah. And here's another one. Do you know your weekly numbers, conversations, appointments, agreements, pendings, and closings?
Sure. You got to know your numbers, right? I mean, if you don't know your numbers, you're just running a business without actually having, a standard in place. You don't know where your growth is going to be. I mean, that's a really important one. But here's another one, right? And this is really key. Do you practice your skill every week, including objections, consultations, negotiation, or even follow up? Because practice makes permanent.
100%. A lot of people stop, especially after they feel like they're good enough, but you got to still practice.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's another one. If your current lead sources disappeared tomorrow, would your business survive?
That one hits the pocket really hard. And we've had lead sources that were amazing one year and the next year non-existent. So this is a real true thing that you got to think about. Now, total your score. Remember, it was 1 point for every yes for those 10 questions. And if you get between 8 to 10 means that you're building a durable business right now. If you get between 5 and 7, that means you have a business, but there are weak points that the market can expose. And if you score between a 0 and a 4, that means your income is more vulnerable than you may even realize.
So good. And just guys, remember this. The score is not a judgment. It's diagnosis. Now you know where you need to work. So make sure that you answer these questions honestly. We don't want you to finish this episode feeling motivated for 20 minutes and then go back to the same habits. Here's a 30-day plan.
For
Week
sure.
1. What is it, Sharif?
Yeah. I mean, week 1, you're going to have to go back and just, audit. During week 1, that's all you're doing. Auditing your business. Write down where every closing from the past 12 months came from, right? Review your conversation rates. Look at your database. Identify every lead with no clear next step. Okay. Identify your weakest skill. That's key because you won't know what to improve unless you do that. And do not say, I need more leads until you determine what happened to the leads that you already had. And I promise you, those leads are probably ready right now.
Good. Here's week 2. During week 2, build your value presentation. Write down every meaningful service you provide. Then connect each service to a client outcome. Don't say, I provide professional photography. Instead, say, we use professional visual marketing to create stronger first impression, increase interest, improve the chance of attracting serious buyers. Here's another one. Don't simply say, I negotiate. Explain what you negotiate. Price, inspection requests, appraisal problems, closing dates, financing strength, contingencies, occupancy, risk. Value becomes powerful when the client understands that outcome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's great. So you got through week 1 and week 2, right? So during week 3, commit to daily conversations, and that's got to be a standard. Right? Choose the number based on your business, but make it measurable, not work on leads or not do some follow up, right? A specific number of meaningful conversations or contact attempts every day. I don't care what it is, 3, 5, 10, make it a standard and then track it. That's all you got to do.
So good. And here's week 4. During week 4, create 4 pieces of useful local content. 1 market update, 1 frequently asked question, 1 case study from a real transaction with the private details protected, of course, and 1 opinion about something buyers or sellers misunderstand. Each piece should answer a real question, not simply remind people that you're an agent.
So true. And after that, that's pretty much like a month. You're banging it out. And after, those 30 days end, this is what you should have. A cleaner database. I mean, that's going to be a must if you're actually tackling it. A strong value presentation. That's something that you definitely need in this business. You're going to have more conversations, which is the key, right? It should be, the one standard that you really rely on is the conversations, and you'll have better visibility. Don't be that secret agent. Get out there. And you'll also have a clear understanding of your numbers, which is something that's very important and most agents don't take seriously. So that's how you begin building a business that can survive any type of market change. So you're not blaming the market because you're controlling yourself. You're controlling your own business.
There you go. Well, guys, the real estate industry is not dying. The minimum standard of being valuable is rising. There was a time when access was enough and information was enough. Now consumers have both. And what they need is someone who can help them interpret information, make strong decisions, negotiate through uncertainty, and avoid expensive mistakes.
Right there. Expensive mistakes, because they can get really costly. But honestly, don't worry about AI, right? The future belongs to agents who combine technology with humanity, and an agent who are fast, but still be thoughtful, right? Agents who automate, but still communicate on a personal level. Agents who create content, but also create conversations, and agents who know the market, but also understand people and how they react. So those are the type of agents that are going to win.
Yeah. And guys, you don't need to fear the extinction event if you are willing to evolve. But you cannot keep operating with an old playbook and expect a different market to reward you. Your license will not protect you. Your brokerage logo will not protect you. Your years in business will definitely not protect you. Your value, skills, relationships, discipline, and willingness to adapt will.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the question we want you to answer. Are you waiting for the market to become easier, or are you becoming the agent that makes the market?
Yeah. And if this episode, guys, gave you a wake-up call, the wake-up call that you needed, subscribe to the Playbook of Agent Success, and please send this episode to an agent who is serious about this business in 2027. Then comment below with your score from the survival test and one skill you're committing to improve over the next 30 days.
For sure. Yeah. And stop guessing, guys. Start operating from a real plan. And if you're looking to develop that type of a plan, don't be afraid to reach out, right? We're always willing to sit down with someone that really wants to take their business seriously and, close monthly.
There you have it, guys. And again, if you like this podcast, please feel free to reach out. Let us know how you like it and share it, comment, and send us a message. And we'll talk to you soon.
See you later, guys.
Take care.